analytics for startups. So the first thing I want to start is a caveat. Marketing is a subset of business, is a subset of economics, which is a social science. It's not a hard science, right? You're not going to be able to, every time I drop a pen on the ground, 100 times out of 100, it's going to hit the ground. Marketing is about how close can you get to understanding, the way that people make decisions and the things that influence them. All of the math that we're going to cover today is just a way to simplify and express the lives and decision-making journeys of your customers. There's two types of data I want to talk about today. One is explicit data, so things that people tell us, things like survey data or ratings or feedback. This is things that people tell us. And then implicit data is things that people show us. How are they using our application? What do they buy? Also the lack of behaviors, for example, abandoning a shopping cart on an e-commerce site, etc. So explicit data and implicit data both have their strengths and weaknesses, and they can be used to create a more full picture of how our startup is working. We're going to cover this framework here that's called the startup to scale up framework, and it's split up in 4 phases. The first phase, the beginning of any given startup, is finding product market fit, which we're going to go over the definitions of, but it's basically like, do you have something that people want to use? The second phase is getting the math to work. So if you're raising money from investors, for example, can you grow your business quickly and in a way that has efficiency and profitability? The third phase is getting the math to scale, because an investor doesn't want to give you $1 and have you give them $3. They want to give you like $1 million and have you give them $3 million back. And then the fourth phase is where growth begins to slow down, and you need to think about things like creating new products, etc. So we're going to focus primarily on the first 3 phases today. One caveat I want to make sure that everybody is aware of, right? You can't do everything at once. If you try and boil the ocean with a match, it doesn't make it a bad match, it makes it a bad plan. I tell the team all the time, who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. It does not matter how much you need both rabbits to make dinner for tonight or whatever. You can still only do one thing at a time. And this is a really common mistake for startups. Before you have product market fit, you try and scale your revenue. Or before you have your unit economics working, et cetera, you try and raise capital. So focus on one phase at a time and focus on the metrics that matter. Don't pay any attention. We're going to cover a lot of metrics in this, but depending on the phase your startup is in, ignore all of the other metrics.